Welcome back everyone. In today's video, I wanted to share my thoughts after watching the latest Hasbro Pulse fan stream. This happened earlier today at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and there were some decent reveals for the vintage collection, but overall I think we had kind of a lackluster day, mostly because there wasn't anything 100% brand new, and while new tooling is involved, these are items we have seen in the past. So kicking things off for the vintage collection, the team showed us a number of repacks that were revealed earlier this week as Target exclusive. Bomb Vin Dim, Bib Fortuna, and the Gamorrean Guard. And while it's nice to get these figures back out there for new collectors, they're also not really too exciting in general, just because these have swivel legs. You know, they're a little bit dated when it comes to the articulation. The sculpts are great, and while I like Bomb Vin Dim quite a bit, he's actually pretty decent for customs. Yeah, you know, I would always like to see a little bit more progression and maybe try to improve some of these figures. And then we got some pretty exciting news, which is that the deluxe size cards are no longer a thing. We are going back to standard sized cards. They're not going to be the larger 7x9, so that is great news. Everyone will be able to, have their carded display looking nice and organized with all the same 6x9 cards. So definitely really good stuff there. Happy that they heard the feedback and they are making moves on that. But moving right along, we had our first actual reveal for the day, and this time it is an Army Builder 4-pack, which is always great to see for the vintage collection, which I personally think is the true army building scale. Because of these smaller figures, you're able to get a huge number of them and have them nicely displayed without taking up like a considerable amount of room. So always great to get these Imperial troops and just other troopers in general out there in these 4-packs. Now, we did recently see the Snowtrooper on card, and I personally bought quite a few of these, so, I've already gotten a little bit of an army started, but these trooper packs allow you to, kind of do it at a slightly lower price point, which is nice. Taking a look at what we got here, good stuff. We got 4 grunts, which is something we've been giving them a lot of feedback on. Not to put anything unique in there, like an officer that, can't just swap off a pauldron or something like that. So really good that they heard the feedback and they're finally moving forward on that. We also get some nice accessories in here, like the extra pulse rifle. You get 2 of those. But other than that, they're coming with their standard E11 blaster rifle and backpacks. But like I said before, this is something we've recently seen, so it's not super new, but I am excited about it, and I'm sure many of you are going to want to add a few of these to your displays as well and just build up those Hoth armies. The vintage collection Snowtrooper 4-pack will be available for pre-order on June 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and the price is $54.99, which is actually pretty nice. If you do the math, divide it by the 4 figures, it's about $13 and some change per figure, which is a little better than paying the $16.99 for the carded version. Next up, we have a vehicle for the vintage collection, which is always great to see. It is the world building scale, and this time we have Darth Vader's TIE Advance. Now, this is pretty cool to see, but also a little bit, not that exciting, just because we've seen this in the past. It's not exactly my favorite TIE fighter personally. I would love to see something like a TIE Defender. I like TIE fighters in general. We've had a number of them in the past. We've had Interceptors, the regular big wing TIE fighter. And while it's cool to get this out right now and get it into our collections quick, I think this would have been a nice one to, save for the A New Hope anniversary. We're currently in, the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, and I think a lot of people have been kind of frustrated with the vintage collection and just Hasbro's treatment to that anniversary. Now, I will admit that the TIE Advance looks absolutely wonderful. It's all new from the ground up. They've pretty much gotten rid of, the play feature with the firing missiles, which might upset some people, but I think it would make a lot of other people pretty, happy about that. Nice attention to detail. It looks like something taken directly from the movie, so that's great. The cockpit has been updated a bit. The latch, door actually is a little bit more seamless. It, has a really nice finish there. Now, the one takeaway is the damaged wing. I think that's actually pretty cool. It really helps to add a little bit more newness here, and yeah, that's actually something I would like to see maybe on a future TIE fighter. So pretty cool stuff to see, that kind of creative, ingenuity and taking this old item and making it a little bit fresh. Now it comes with a pack-in figure, which is another Darth Vader. So nothing too exciting here. We've been seeing a lot of Vaders. I do think the card back looks kind of fun. This is definitely one that I will buy only one purchase of this vehicle because I don't need to open that Vader. I just need the vehicle out of the box. So that's kind of cool at the same time that you don't have to buy two of these just to open that Vader. There's nothing new going on. Pretty much the same accessories that we've seen with previous Vaders. So that is a little nice to see, especially considering that this vehicle is actually going to be $140, which is not exactly great, but at the same time, the N1 was the same price. Now, I personally thought the N1 was a bit more exciting because we hadn't seen the Mandalorian's N1 Starfighter anywhere. We've had previous N1s, but it was definitely a bit more unique. And yeah, so let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this $140 price tag. Do you think that it's worth the price to get this all new vehicle into the vintage collection? We eventually had to get this one onto the Kenner style box. I knew it had to be done, but yeah, I do think it's kind of, a good one to get out there. But like I said, it would have been nice to maybe save this for the A New Hope anniversary instead. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, like I said. So just like the Snowtrooper 4-pack, this will be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive and available for pre-order on June 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time and available for fall of 2025. Once again, it will be $139.99. All in all, I think we had some good reveals for the vintage collection, but we could always use more. I would have liked to see a few more new figures shown and perhaps something to help ease the pain of the lack of Revenge of the Sith figures for the vintage collection, while we watch the neighboring scale get some fun releases. But feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you enjoy the reveals from today's Hasbro Pulse fan stream? What was your favorite reveal? And don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps and is always greatly appreciated. Thanks everyone, and may the Force be with you.